What up, everybody? Sean from Charleston Crafted here, working on some laser cutter projects this morning. So I got a new laser cutter a couple of months ago, and I've been playing around with it, building some projects, making some things. This holiday season has been perfect for trying out this laser cutter and making a lot of Christmas ornaments personalized for people. They make great ornaments, stocking stuffers, teacher gifts, kid class gifts, neighbor gifts, anything like that. Perfect little something for that person you're not that close to. So, but you feel like you want to get them something. So we're using the laser cutter today. So a couple quick things. Shout out YouTube. Sent me this beanie. Just finished a YouTube live content creators course a couple of weeks ago, and they sent me this beanie for being so active on YouTube. But shout out X-Tool. So X-Tool sent me this laser cutter about 6 months ago or so. This is the X-Tool P2, and I've been using it a lot. So the X-Tool P2 is a massive, massive laser cutter, and I love this thing. It has a just absolutely huge work surface for laser cutting. So, and it has so many other capabilities as well. But like just the general work surface on this X-Tool P2 is about 12 inches by 24 inches, which gives you a huge work surface. And it also has capabilities. If you pop this out and then you set up a roller attachment, you can put this underneath here, and this thing can engrave like endless lengths, because you set that up and it can just engrave, and it'll move your workpiece as you're going, and it'll just move it along and all that. So I haven't used that feature yet, but that is there. I also, attached to my P2, I have a smoke purifier, so that takes the smoke that's coming out of the laser cutter, goes through this tube here, and comes out purified, a little bit less problematic for breathing. But so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to kind of walk you through the processes of what I do to make these personalized Christmas ornaments. So I've been making these for a lot of people, and I got a couple people I want to make them for today. And then I actually want to make some kids gifts, so we'll see if we'll get to that. But if you have any questions about laser cutting as a hobby or as a woodworking practice, let me know. If I turn my back to the camera, that's because I'm taking a look at the computer system, and I'll get back to your chat in just a second. But overall, so basically how this works is you use your computer to set up your design. So X-Tool has what's called Creative Space, and it's their like software that you go in there and you use. So what I'm doing here for these in particular is, you can see here I've created these little name tags. So I'm going with like people's first initial, and then engraving. So I'm cutting their first initial out, cutting out a little hole for like a hanger for the ornament, and then engraving their name on it. So I'm gonna put some wood in there and get these running. You can see like when it cuts these out, this is one I did, but like look at how clean and crisp that W is. Like before I got this laser cutter, if I had wanted to do something like this freehand with like a jigsaw or a scroll saw, I'm not nearly talented enough for that to make like intricate designs. I mean, like this was a thankful tree I made. So it was two pieces of two things that are a tree, and then they went perpendicular on each other, stood up, and then you could use them as a Thanksgiving craft. But like, I can't cut out all those branches like that. That's perfect laser cutter precision. So, so the first thing you do is you set up your design in Creative Space, and then you have to put some wood in your laser cutter. So I'm going to use these old cutoffs. I had ideas for what I would use for these circles, but I'm going to do them for these ornaments because scrap wood is free. And whenever I cut out these laser things, I save everything. Like I said, I save this right here because look at all this usable space here for little things, which is what I'm going to do for those kid class gifts here in a little bit. But so right now, I'm going to load this up into my laser cutter. And let's see, how many do I got? I got 5 in there. All right. So we're going to put these in there right now. And all right. So let me take you on this journey here. I'm going to carry you over here, okay? So in here is what the inside of my laser cutter looks like, right? So it's got these, I just put these planks of 1/4 inch plywood in there. Sits in here. I'm going to close this up, all right? And then we're going to go over here to the computer. And this So what we're going to do is we're going to connect. First, I got to connect my. This is one thing I don't really like about this. I don't know why. Like, I'll click it, and sometimes it doesn't work that first time, and then it makes me like just say like connection failed. And even though it's right there, I just got to select it in the Wi-Fi and grab it, and you'll hear a beep, and that means it's connected. So what we're going to do is, all right, so now that my laser cutter is connected, those are those 3 pieces of wood in there that you just saw. So now what I got to do is I got to just move these creations that I made to be on the wood where I want them to be. And that's what's like one of the cool things about laser cutting is like you can have these as close as you want to minimize like scrap and problems, because you can have them as close to each other as possible because that laser cutter is so precise, and then that way you get to save your wood. So we're going to move it just a hair over. Yeah, it's getting stuck on there, but there we go. All right, grab another one, see if that can fit on there. Cool. All right, so I got 2 on that one board there. So I actually don't even need this big circle. So I'm actually gonna take that out for right now. And then watch. All right, so I took that board out, and then I'm gonna hit this refresh image right here, and it's gonna change it to be now just 2 circles. Boom, that one disappeared. Look at that. We're gonna move this over here. Readjust that, and then refresh the background, and then we're gonna start cutting here in about 30 seconds. So drag that, like I said, put that one on the edge, move this one right there as well, right next to it, and then that way I can save as much of that as I can for some of this other stuff I'm gonna do here in a little bit. So I'm gonna push that up to the edge actually to save that space. This one I'm gonna pull up to the top so I can save some space down there as well. All right, so now when you do this, you look on here, you make sure that your project is on the wood that you want it to be. Then you select the type of wood. So for me, I'm using some 1/4 inch plywood. You can take this right here and you can click, and it'll aim and it'll measure exactly that thickness of that wood that you want. And then now we are going to go to process. Kind of shows you a little view of what you're gonna go. All right, we're gonna hit start. Cut on my smoke purifier back here as well. You can hear that start up. And then I'm gonna I hit start on that. So now I hit start on the laser cutter right here. And you're gonna see this bad boy start going. So this entire process to make 5 of these ornaments, the system tells you how long it's going to take because it knows how long it takes to trace something out, how long it takes to engrave it. So these ornaments are going to take about 9 minutes to make. So we are going to let that go. So if anybody has any laser cutting questions, let me know, please. Otherwise, I can show you this engraving process. And just let y'all watch that for some ASMR style video here. You know what? I'm even gonna put you guys on top of the laser cutter. And then you can see what it looks like. So I'm adjusting my tripod for you. All right, so you wanna see how a laser cutter works? All right, I'm gonna put you up on top of my laser cutter here. And this is my spray paint collection. So here we go. We're gonna let that rock and roll. If you have any questions about laser cutting, let me know. How's it looking? So the engraving takes significantly longer than cutting for some reason. I guess because it's making like dozens of little passes to burn that mark into the wood, and then cutting is like super fast. So to make 5 of these ornaments, the 9 minutes, like over 5 of that is engraving, and then 4 minutes is just like quick buzzing. That's when you start seeing like a lot of progress once you start cutting. But so we're on to ornament number 5 for engraving. So it's interesting watching this engraving going or watching this machine work, how it chooses to do its work. So it does all the engraving first, and then it goes back and does the cutting later. I don't really know why. I guess there must be like a setting inside on the actual like machinery that is saying, all right, we're using this power. Well, I know that you can set the power of the engraving or the cutting, and so it's basically using, I'm assuming it's just staying on that same power for all of the engraving, and then it switches to a different power to do the cutting. So it just chooses to do it all at once instead of doing like progressive line by line. Because like if it was me, I would do all the different things at one time. But this has its own little order. So in just a second, it's going to be done with the engraving, and then it'll start cutting. But you see, so we're on the last engraving name now, which is my mother's grandmother name. She does not fall into that category I mentioned of people you don't like that much, but you make an ornament for. She just gets one because everybody else is getting one. So now it's going to start the engraving. So you can see here it moves a lot quicker, and so for this style, like I said, you can obviously do tons of different things. I'm going to show you a different type here in a minute of what I'm going to do. But this style I chose to make here is initials. So I take somebody's, the initial of either their first or their last name, depending on what you want to do. And then I engrave their name on it. And then it's just kind of like a rustic engraved ornament that's on there. So, and I mean, the precision, like I said, is just incredible on these. And that's what I've really found interesting with getting into laser cutting. So some of the things I've done with this, like I showed you the cutout of that thankful tree that I did earlier. I've been making all these ornaments this year. At Halloween, I made a bunch of like candy bucket name tags. So people who wanted to get like a little hanger for their kids' Halloween bucket, I sold those in my neighborhood. Those work really well. And yeah, it's also like great if you're making like custom wood signs or anything for people's businesses or anything like that. Like it's a great way to do it. I think that laser cutting is different from like woodworking, but they're obviously in the same family, and they can be used together. They don't like, they're separate entities, but also you can use them, like you can pair them well together. So like for this, like I said, I can't do this as well as with like a jigsaw or a scroll saw. I could make letters, I could draw them out and trace them, but it's not going to look as good as this laser cutter can do. But I think it's a great supplement for woodworking because you can supplement some of those aspects that you need to be a little bit more precise. You do, like this X-Tool P2 is huge and it works with like a lot of different materials, but you can't really cut super thick materials. So even 1/2-inch plywood, I did a project where I was, that I made like a necklace hanger for my daughter, and I tried to cut a giant crown out of 1/2-inch plywood, and it really burned the edges. Like it can handle it technically, but it burned the edges. So like you don't want to have that for something that's going to be like super precise, like you want like on display as the wood. I sanded it down and painted it so it was okay, but you wouldn't want that to be something that's like I said, like you wouldn't be messing with in post-production. So, all right, so we are almost done here with the last one. Like I said, that, and look at this. Boom. All right, so let's take a look at these. All right, let's get this tripod back. So if you have any questions, like I said, of woodworking or laser cutting, let me know. What's up? You ready to go?
No, I got 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. I'm about to put theirs in. My wife, we forgot to make presents for the kids in my daughter's class, which apparently is something you have to do nowadays in today's society. But so let me show you what these look like. And so we're gonna pop this out. And so here we go. So you got a little letter engraved with a hole for the hanger, and then I engraved their name on there, and I think that looks pretty good. So, all right, well, since there's no chat, I'm gonna go ahead and end this one now before I show you the next ornaments. I appreciate those who did turn in, and we'll check y'all later. Let me know if there's anything else you're looking for.